Today's MMA Company fight preview is with Glory Watson. Glory is going to be making her fourth professional walk to the MMA cage when she fights Natalie Schlesinger this coming weekend, May 14th at NEF 47, the Battle of LA. Glory, thanks for joining us today. I know you are just getting into your weight cut. How are you feeling? How's everything going?
Feeling water loaded, feeling heavy. Yeah, so I do mine a little bit different than most men do theirs. I actually do a 3-gallon day on Sunday, then a 2-gallon day today. So I'm about a gallon in right now, and I'm feeling heavy.
It always blew my mind how you can feel two very different things from the start of the week till the end of the week, right? Because now you're like, I could never drink another sip of water. I have a whole gallon left. To where's that gallon of water at the end of the week?
Yeah, oh yeah. It's once you get to the end, you're like, I would just love a little more water, just a little bit.
Exactly. Now I want to talk to you about this fight with Natalie. I know you've been doing a lot of training, right? Pretty much all over the place. You've been mixing up with a lot of different people. Why Natalie at this time? Is it something that you feel is a good fight for you? Is it your team's just like, yeah, that's a good fight for us right now? Is NEF like, you guys are both, right where you need to be? We want you to fight each other. How does the fight selection process for you go?
So the fight selection process, I actually don't really have much say in. I mean, I do a bit. I can say if I want to or not, or don't want to take it. But when it comes to finding opponents, that is traditionally Coach Christopher Young's job. And then Kira Innocenti will help a lot with that as well. And because Matt Peterson, we've been so loyal to him through basically my entire career, he works really hard to make sure that we're getting the opponents that we want or the opponents that we need. So Natalie was just kind of the next one that said yes. And looking at her record, she had a very good amateur record, and then with an undefeated record as a pro, and she's never been finished or had a finish. So it's going to be interesting to see the way that it goes, because that she has a gas tank. She's going to she can fight for 15 minutes straight. So it's really fun. And I think that it's going to be different compared to some of the other fights that I've had where they've been earlier finishes and things like that. So I'm excited about this one.
And, going in against an opponent, like her, who, she has a gas tank. And I think that's something that you are constantly working on too, from talking to Kira, you never want to get tired in a fight, right? What are some of the things that you've been doing to ensure that if it goes to 15 minutes, you're going to be, still fresh at the end?
I've actually added in quite a bit more cardio just in my regular working out. I haven't added a lot more running. I have added some, but not an outrageously large amount. I've added in more bag work and things like that. That's more practical for the fight. So we mixed that in. Our gym is finally starting to come along. So we have the actual tie bags that we can use now instead of the freestanding bags. So that makes a big difference, because it feels a lot different hitting those versus hitting the ones that just fall all around. So that in itself has really helped build my cardio up. And in terms of cardio, I don't think I've ever felt better than I do in this camp.
And that's something that gives you another level of confidence, right? Because you might feel good grappling, you might feel crisp in your striking, but if you get to the point in your camp where you're at now and you're like, still kind of get tired, that's something that's always looming over you. So that added benefit of having that, good gas tank has to feel good going into this fight, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely. It's like you said, it's kind of like I have my striking, I have grappling, I have wrestling, but if all else fails, I still have cardio and I can still go on autopilot and just do what comes out.
And I want to talk to you too, just specifically about, the middle of your career here, because we're coming up to now this is going to be your fourth professional fight. You went on a streak to start your amateur career, right? Rattling off win, 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 win. And then your last amateur fight, and your first professional fight were your first two losses ever. And now you've bounced back where you've rattled off two pretty good wins, right? In your back-to-back last two fights as a pro. Fighting is very streaky where you see a lot of fighters take, a bunch of wins and then they'll drop a few and then they'll get back in the win column for a while. Was there anything different that you had done, after you dropped those two fights where you were like, all right, we got to reset, we got to focus on this, we got to focus on that? Or were you more of like, I'm going to stay the course, losses may happen, but I'm very committed to what we're doing here and we're just going to keep pushing forward?
So that very good point. And I do agree with you that things can get really streaky like that. And so I had my first loss as an amateur, my first loss as a pro, and then I took a kickboxing fight, and that was also a loss. So I had 3 losses in a row.
Okay.
And it was after my kickboxing match that I went out back and I just sat there. I'm like, I'm so tired of losing. I'm so sick of losing. So coming off of that, I think it was the point where I'm like, I have to do something. I can't just show up and expect that what I have at base level is going to be good enough. I have to stand out. I have to do the things that are going to make me stand out. And coach and I talked about it in terms of emotional investment, because it's easy to be like, if you expect disappointment, you get disappointment, or you're never surprised anyway. So now I'm having to look at it differently in terms of, I want to be successful, so I have to put everything out there. And that's when I have the most success. There's a moment in my last fight where she hits me with a hook and I made the decision. I was like, I don't want this to be a loss again. I don't want this. And it completely changed my expression, changed, everything changed. I had a huge smile on my face. And that was kind of the moment of the fight that changed the direction of that.
And do you feel that there's moments in every fight, right, that you kind of remember then in your training moving forward? Is that something that you feel like it could have been a split, right, in your career, where if you did let that affect you, right, you might have been dropping, fight after fight, because then that becomes your mentality. But you hit that point, right, in that fight where you finally said to yourself, this isn't it. That might have changed the trajectory of, this next fight and future fights down the line, and just that one decision in that moment.
I most definitely think so, because I think the mental part of this game is so much more than anyone could ever imagine. Like going out and fighting, yes, you're fighting another human being, but that whole time you're fighting yourself. And every single day you go into the gym, you're fighting yourself. You wake up in the morning and you say, oh, I'm so sore, I'm so tired, I don't want to go to the gym. You're fighting yourself. So I think that was a fight that I won against myself, and gave me a little bit more confidence in that. Be like, oh, if I do put this forward, I can be successful. And so that's just the direction that I think every fight has to go from now on. You put it all on the line, and then if you lose gracefully, and if you win, it's just the best.
Best feeling ever, right?
The best feeling ever.
So for this fight on the 14th, what do you have to do to get this win over Natalie? What do you think she's going to come out and try to do? I don't want to ask about your specific game plan, but what do you think you need to do to get this win?
Show up. I think I need to show up. I think that's really it. I need to show up and be mentally sharp and just ready for anything. It's coach and I were actually talking about it just this morning. There's so many options because we're not sure. Maybe she wants to stand and strike because I've had 2 finishes on the ground, or maybe she wants to take me down because she doesn't want to strike. Like, there's so many options for the direction she's going to go that we're not really sure. So we've been preparing for absolutely everything. And I think that if I come in mentally sharp, I'm going to be ready for anything. And that's what you need.
Awesome, Gloria. We're looking forward to it. New shirts for this fight are awesome. I love the theme.
I love it. It's my favorite. I love cereal.
I can't wait for you to get some after this fight on the 14th. Just before I let you go in, to give you a chance to shout out anybody that has been helping you out. I know you got a ton of teammates and supporters, so just want to give you that time.
Yep. So I'm going to shout out the gyms that I've been training with the most. I train with Central Maine Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Famoso, BJJ, and then occasionally we'll travel down to Nostos in New Hampshire. Super phenomenal teams. They are great human beings, and just I wouldn't be where I am without them today. And I'm really glad that we have built a relationship that we have over this entire camp. And all of that being said, none of this would be possible without my endless chain of sponsors that have basically helped me through this since the beginning. I have sponsors that have sponsored me since my very first amateur fight up until now, and I'm just so incredibly grateful. And I always say this, but it's too many for me to list. We'd be sitting here all day.
Yep.
So I'm gonna, once this gets posted, I'm gonna tag everybody and it'll be right linked to the video.
Awesome, Gloria. Appreciate your time. Kick some ass on the 14th.
Thank you so much, John.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.